and welcome back to another 6-scale figure review with me, your host, That Mania. And today we have the 20-year anniversary, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, Super Battle Droid. So, I love the Super Battle Droid. This big, bulking bully is, he's not an awesome, he's a good design. He's a silly design. There's a lot of, weird silliness to him. But I think that's part of his charm. And obviously, if you've played Republic Commandos, you know that these guys are a little scary. But this guy, not so much. Attack of the Clones, Super Battle Droids, they're okay. They're not as good as, they can be. But they're okay. But this guy, I'm super excited to have because I love silly droids. I'm really hoping that at some point the regular tan droid comes out. I'm not a huge fan of the Geonosis color, so I skipped on that one. But I'm hoping we do get a regular tan battle droid and maybe a commando droid at some point. Because I'd love to have a couple droids here and there to match with the clones I have. But for now, we've got this guy. Box is nice. Normal, anniversary Star Wars box where it's got the deception that it looks like the normal Star Wars box. But if you lift the sheath, it has this classic toy box kind of feel to it. It's fun, but it has that thing that I don't like where it's the open from the top and not just the sheath. I like the Star Wars boxes because it's the sheath you can lift up and then the box is right there. But it's alright. It's a cool picture of the Super Battle Droid. And if you come around, you pretty much just see everything you need to see. And from there's not much. Obviously, you can see he's not in the box, though, because he's ready for the second part of the video. Moving to that. So the first thing I noticed is that this guy is a lot bigger than I expected, but also a lot lighter than I expected. It's kind of like the Justice League Cyborg, where because he's a big metal man, you'd expect him to be a little heavier than he is, but he's not. This guy, I'm not sure if there's any die cast on this guy, which is kind of crazy, because you'd think there would be. Just, because he's a big metal man. Iron Man gets it. Grievous gets it, which is going to be awesome. That's going to be an awesome figure. But, this guy didn't get it. Which is nice because it brings the price down because diecast can get expensive. But it is a little weird because this guy is super light. But he looks really good, and I can't wait to talk about him here a little bit more in a second. But for now, just appreciate the Super Battle Droid. Now, let's appreciate the Super Battle Droid a little bit closer up. So other than the display base, Mr. Super Battle Droid here comes with literally nothing but this arm attachment thing. So it's not really an arm attachment. You literally just take his arm out and you plug this in. So then he's missing an arm. That's it. That's all that he gets. A missing arm. So if you want to recreate a scene or make a scene with a Super Battle Droid with a missing arm, there you go. So, talking about Super Battle Droid, I always forget that the Super Battle Droid, the main part here, has a droid head in it. It's something you don't really pay attention to, but it's a silly little guy in there. The homage to the fact that he is still just a battle droid at the end of the day. But to start, we could say that the weathering, I'm a hive mind, I can say that the weathering on this guy looks great. This guy looks like he has been, the paint has been chipped away and sanded off, because most Super Battle Droids in this movie were on Geonosis, and obviously there's always going to be sand all over that place. It is a sand planet after all. So you can see that the paint and the weathering here looks like it's a representation of that. It looks worn down. It looks rough. And that looks really good. The paintwork on this is exceptional. It's all over. You could see it on the shoulders here. You could see it on the back. It's speckled and smeckled all over the place. This guy looks like he's been to war. And he probably has. He is a Super Battle Droid. Obviously, the Super Battle Droid's got a very weird design. There's no real defined head part. It's just kind of it feels like he gets cut off at the shoulders, like they forgot to build a head, and then they went, oh god, we forgot the head, and they just jammed something right there. That's always been the silliest part to me. I mean, it looks like an evil goon robot in like a movie. But I love him. You can't not love him. His arms are super well detailed. He's got all this mechanical, gribble and grime. This nice little that. He looks fantastic for what he is. He is a super battle droid, and he is going to ruin somebody's day, most likely. Whether it's just because he's big and burly, or because they were not aware of the wrist rockets, which he has one arm that is all gunned up and ready to go. You can see he's got this twin barrel blaster on his arm, as per usual. We all seen the scene where super battle droids are walking down with their arms up. On the other side, he does not have anything, which is normal. They only have it on one side after all. I think it would be much more efficient if they had it on two, but they don't. He's got this nice like ribbed up piece right here that connects him from the top to the bottom, to which the legs come down, and it's got this big gear piece that's kind of holding his legs together. And the legs down is really where his design falls apart for me personally, because his legs are just so thin and like useless that it almost feels like he shouldn't be able to stand. Everything on the top here is so big and beefy, and then you just get down to like the waist and the legs, and everything just feels so small and like dainty. Like, no wonder these guys were useless. I mean, look at him. Look how thin that is. Why would you want that for your big hulking battle droid? Give him big legs so he can be a big threat to the clone army. It just feels foolish to not. But just like at the top, the legs also have really nice weathering on them, as you see here. As you see here, it does look really nice. It is all over. This guy has seen things. It's even on the feet here at the bottom. Quite lovely. But yeah, he looks really good, and I'm super happy about that. His fingers, and his big hands. So he's got these big grasping hands. His hands look really weird if you just leave them flat like that. Keeping them in a fist makes it look a lot better, and it just feels more natural, at least for these guys, because this just kind of looks silly. But it's really easy to do. I mean, I don't know if I need to show you, but I just curl my fingers up like that, and then put this on, and then I put that on top, and it kind of has like a fish shape to it. I work with it, and you could work with it from there. But that's what makes me happy. And you know what? What makes me happy might not make you happy. But I know at least this guy is making me happy currently. So, let's bust out a couple of good guys and bad guys, and we'll see how they all line up together in a nice comparison part of a video. So I thought, who better to start a comparison with than the guy who took on the super battle droids initially. Obviously, he didn't win in that fight, but he was the first person you see fight some super battle droids. And you can see here that they are, they're about head level with him, which is about to be expected, but they are much bigger, much scarier. They got broad shoulders. He's a scary man. I'd be scared of this guy if he came at me with his twin arm cannon. That'd be scary as hell. Obviously, Mace Windu is a lot less scared than I am. But, yeah, they look really nice together. And let's bring out the next guest on our guest comparisons to All Stars Brawl. Very rare I bring this guy out, because I usually don't have a reason to. He's shown up in a few videos, but I feel like I don't get to bring him out as much as I love him. Count Dooku, who is taller than the super battle droid, which makes sense. Count Dooku is a big guy. And, this just goes to show the leader of the Separatist army is a power to be feared. Look at him. I mean, he's got this army behind him. If only he had a big four-armed robot who could wield lightsabers, many lightsabers. If only. Maybe one day. But yes, these two look really nice next to each other. Now, how about we simplify it down and show you a little one-on-one action between this guy and his probably closest rival on the battlefield. So here we have the super battle droid next to, the leader of the 501st, Captain Rex. I could have picked any clone out of this. This isn't specific to Captain Rex. This is just clones in general. But you could definitely see how much bigger a super battle droid is compared to a regular clone trooper, even one of Rex's stature. Obviously, a regular droid would be a lot more in line with the size. But if the droid army had just mass-produced these guys, they probably would have won. I mean, you could see that they're more armored. They have scarier gun. They got a lot going on for them, and they don't really have sentience, so you just make a bajillion of them and control them and overwhelm. But they didn't do that. They just built regular silly droids because it's probably cheaper. But you can see here just how well Rex and the super battle droid stack up next to each other. Now, I do have one more comparison before we move on to Droidiculation. Now, finally, we have here my extremely, extremely unhappy to be alive Sideshow Grievous. This guy is falling apart at the seams, and I've only had him for like a year and a half. But yes, you can see here the leader of the droid army with just one single member of his droid army here. And they look really, really cool together. Again, I'm hoping we get more droids soon, maybe a Magna Guard or a Commando droid, because I think having Grievous in a droid army around him will look just as good as having the Jedi with the clone around them. And Grievous here, once he gets his hot upgrade, is going to be a power to be, he's going to be power to be reckoning with. That's not how I wanted to say that. He's going to be scary, especially with these droids now. But I'm super happy to have a lot of these guys in the collection now. The collection for the Clone Wars shelf is getting really expansive, and I can't wait to see what else we can get in the future. More clones coming soon, hopefully. Now, let's move on and see how well Mr. Super Battle Droid here can articulate. So I'm sorry to say, but there obviously, for not having a head, is no life-ending 360 of articulation. So we're going to have to start a little different here with the arms. So the arms, you want to pull out a little bit before you can push it in, but you want to pull it out to really do some movement. He's got about up that far. He can go all the way around, no problem. There is freedom there. Elbow gets a pretty good bend. You got full articulation on the fingers up to that point and up to that point. But they do bend quite a bit, so you get some real range before you have to worry about it. And like I said, you go push them back in so it doesn't look as wily, but you can pull them out to get a little bit more articulation out of it. He does have a bit of a waist articulation, which is quite nice. You can get some up and down, so he does have some crunch. His legs spread about that far. Leg goes up as far as you need it to, and back about to there. Knee bend about there, and he does have some freedom in the ankle, but not a lot. It goes up and back, and it goes side a little bit, but not like a lot. So just be careful with that, because it feels like it'll break at any point. But Super Battle Droid here could get some seriously sweet action poses going, even though he doesn't really ever do that. But I'm happy to say that because he's a droid, he can really move. Anyway, why don't we wrap this one up? How about that, Super Battle Droid? So all in all, I would say this Super Battle Droid is an absolute win for people who really just like droids and Star Wars and the Clone Wars in general. There's no real big problem with this guy. He might be lightweight, but you could definitely get enough out of him where you don't have to worry about him falling over, because he can stand up on his own. He's got a really good balance to himself. He could do a bunch of crazy stuff like this, and he's holding on to that, no problem. And he's just an all-around fun-loving guy. Sometimes. So, Super Battle Droid may not be for everyone, but if you're one of those people like me who just love this big, chunky idiot, this is definitely something worth picking up. And the price really isn't that bad either. I hope that you can make an informative decision whether you're willing to pick this guy up based off of this video, because I would love to know if you were on the fence about this Super Battle Droid or not, and if this video helped you at all make that decision, because I know that sometimes with figure collecting, it's a little hard to know whether something is, worthwhile or not. So I'm hoping something like this helps you just that little bit more. And if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like and subscribe, because the channel's been doing really nicely recently, and I'd love to keep that momentum up, especially because I get to do stupid stuff like this for you guys, and it really, it makes collecting a lot more fun to me. I love doing stuff like this. It really helps bring everything together. And if you like the video, it just means more people can join this silly little thing we're doing. And it's been really, really fun, and I'm happy you guys are all here with me. And with all of that out of the way, on this semi-short 6-scale figure review, I've been me, and you've been you, and thank you for watching another 6-scale figure review. Hopefully you can join me next time when we review something maybe new. I will see you then.